In the process that we have just sort of described, sort of going through, working out what culture looks like in a team or community or plant, at the end of stage 2, you will have ended up with a list of principles or values, a list of things that matter to you, really matter to you. And I want to speak briefly about values, because for any leader or team, community, plant, whatever, they are a vital concept, and they are vital because they will underpin everything that you do. And this is because we do what we do because of what we inherently value. Values are guiding principles that provide direction for us. They influence our conduct, our behavior, our activity, our mission. Our values affect our actions, and our actions demonstrate our values. We can't help it. And your team or a plant functions as it does. You function as you do because of what they value, because of what you value. They can't help it. You can't help it. Let's have a look at this video clip for a minute.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้นเพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ไทยประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
Apart from being a great advert, this clip asks a really good question. Why does this guy do what he does? But it doesn't give a really good answer. What it should have said was that he acted from his own deep-seated, maybe inarticulated values. That's how we work. Our actions demonstrate our values. Your plant or team functions as it does. You function as you do because of what they and you value. They can't help it. You can't help it. And I just want to give a quick case study about why this stuff is so vital, why it is so important to go through this process that I have described or something similar. And I'll share the quite painful story of what happened to us in Gateway. After about a year or 18 months of planning and sort of discussing, I sort of stood up in St. Mark's, Haydock, the church in which I was a curate, and shared the vision for this church plant into the centre of Wigan. And I basically said, who's coming with me? And we had about 40 people who came forward, and we whittled them down to 25 of them. And we started in the spring of 2012, started to meet together to work out what this church plant was going to look like. And we started going through this process of we had a blank piece of paper, and we had, starting from scratch, what was going to be important to us? What was going to be vital to us as a church plant? And we went through a process similar to what I have sort of described, and in due course we arrived at the kind of second stage, underpinning and understanding the values and principles that would underpin our journey. And after every block of looking at these values, I would say to our team, it is vital that we are committing to this. And if you can't commit to this, then Gateway and this team and this journey is not for you. It was the opt-in, opt-out stage that I had spoken about earlier. And 3 times in that first year, I invited people to leave, in effect. I said, there will be a time when rubber hits the road, and it's not at this moment when we are sitting here in a warm living room, sort of drinking coffee, eating cake. There will be a time when rubber hits road, and you need to remember that you have committed to this. This is a threshold moment where you make a choice. And so our church plant was launched on September the 3rd, 2012. We had a fabulous service in the sort of centre of town at a marquee setup. We had the sort of current head of Fresh Expressions there, and we had the bishop and the mayor and all important people. We had a fantastic service, great launch. And then we had a brilliant 2.5 months. Great community. We saw some growth. Prayer life was fantastic. Our plans were ambitious. And then we hit a storm, or actually a whole series of storms. It started on our first weekend away, where we went to talk about mission, in actual fact. And we had quite a few young adults in our plant team, and 2 of them, fiery, immature young adults, fell out with each other pretty badly, and it drew in quite a few other people, and it was a desperately painful, difficult sort of situation, both that weekend and in the days and weeks sort of following. We had to go through weeks and weeks and weeks of working through reconciliation, and it was enormously painful. And just as we got through working through that, we hit another storm. We had to work through issues of sexuality and ministry with another one of our young adults, and it was immensely difficult and painful. And a couple of families that had joined us left us because of this. And then other issues arose like a domino effect. And all in all, it took many months of prayer and reconciliation, and me waking up virtually daily and wondering whether this would be our last day, wondering whether we would ever, survive. We did hardly any mission, pure survival. And this took about 18 months. I hope you never have to encounter anything like what we encountered. You probably won't. It's a fairly extreme, situation. You will have to encounter something similar, though. And survive we did. And that was for, a couple of reasons. And one of them was our values. Time and time again, I would meet up with people, either one-on-one or small groups or big groups, and I would either metaphorically or physically wave our list of values in front of them and said, you're committed to this. Back then, when we were sitting in that warm living room, drinking coffee and eating cake, I told you there would be a day when rubber hits road. And it isn't back then, it is now. You're committed to this. What are you going to do about it? And people faced up to it with real courage, actually. And so in our first sort of 2 years, when even healthy church plants, and we were not one of those, we were not healthy. Even healthy church plants, on average, lose about a third of their original plant team. We only lost one person, and that was through a unique case. One of the reasons this happened, apart from the grace of God over us, was our values. The power of culture, the importance of values.